What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the All Things Footy podcast. Today is going to be a rather super light episode where I'm just going to really talk about the Spurs Newcastle game as well as the Barcelona game. Starting off with Spurs and Newcastle. Newcastle are a team that I predicted to finish fifth in my original predictions earlier on the season, right? I saw they made a bunch of really intriguing signings like Bruno Guimaraes, Kieran Trippier. I forgot his first name. I think it's Kieran, right? I totally blanked out his first name. Alex Isak, all these really, really good players that Newcastle is starting to buy with the money they got from their Saudi owners, right? And I thought preseason these players looked pretty sharp as well, and I just had a feeling that they would perform well. And they've been performing really, really, really well, much higher than what I originally expected, and I think they could even push for top four. Winning away at Spurs today by a score of 2-1. You had Callum Wilson and Miggy Almiron goal scorers, with Kane scoring the goal for Spurs. I just want to start with Newcastle really and just talk about how well they played on the road at Tottenham. I know. We'll start with Tottenham actually. So I know that Tottenham could be quite a boring team to play against, right? Especially when the opposing team is home, when Tottenham's playing away. We saw against Arsenal, we saw against United. They are so defensive. They allow you to attack, they allow you to take numerous shots on goal, and hope to catch you on the counter-attack. But I had a feeling that because Tottenham were playing at home, this wouldn't really be the case. They'd be more up for it, they'd be more lively and energetic, and more positive going forward. And in that they were. He had a couple nice chances early on from Son. He had a curler that just grazed the roof of the net. A couple chances from Kane as well, getting into really good positions. Perisic with a decent opportunity as well early on. And a pretty fair, even game, I thought. Going into halftime, Tottenham both playing pretty well. I think their fullbacks, Emerson Royale, who's been ridiculed by not only Spurs fans but many fans worldwide because of his at times atrocious play. But I thought him and Sessegnon did a really, really good job bumming up and down the wings, providing that wide support for Kane, Son, and Bentancur, who also I thought had a really, really good game, especially with aspects of intercepting the ball, carrying the ball. I just feel like sometimes his final ball, like his ball through to either Son or Kane or Emerson Royal or Sessegnon, were quite missing at times. Apart from that, I thought those main players played pretty well. Kane scoring the goal early in the second half to give Newcastle an opportunity. To give Tottenham an opportunity to come back, but that was all put to nil by Newcastle's really decent performance, I thought, away from home. Callum Wilson getting at the time, a controversial goal from Hugo Lloris's mistake. But basically what happened was Hugo Lloris came out of his box, his penalty box, thinking he'd get to the ball before Wilson. Him and Wilson kind of collided in a way. They kind of just impeded each other. No one fell to the ground. Lloris stood tall for the most part, stood his ground, but didn't quite get the ball away. And then when Callum Wilson realized the ball was still with him, he kind of put an arm out to Lloris to get him to back off, chipped him and scored. It went to VAR. That the goal stood at first, and then VAR had a look at it and gave it a goal as well. I feel like it could have gone both ways. I definitely could have seen the reason why it could have been a foul. But I definitely could see the reason why it was given as a goal, because at the end of the day, it's a contact sport. In my opinion, I would have given it as a goal because Lloris took the risk to come out of his penalty box, right? He is basically giving up all his rights and as a goalkeeper to try and just clear the ball. And he's basically making himself an outfield player, right, by coming out of the area where he can use his hands, right, in basic terms. Callum Wilson just kind of bump into each other in a way. They don't really. Callum Wilson doesn't tackle Lloris in any fashion. He just kind of stands his ground. They bump a little bit. He puts an arm out. Could have been called as a foul, but they weren't really looking at that. And they had just chipped him. And yeah, it was a pretty good goal. Very, very quick thinking from Callum Wilson, and I definitely agree that the goal should stand. Although I would have also been okay with them disallowing the goal. But then Miggy Almiron, what a run he had towards the stroke of the second of that half time. Just completely blitzing right past Long Lay like he isn't there and slotting it right under Lloris. I mean, this guy's on insane form. I think he has like 5 goals in total this season, and I think that he might have like 3 in his last 3, or maybe 4 in his last 3, or 4 in his last 4. He's on tremendous form, and has definitely been one of the better players at Newcastle this season. I mean, always running, going 100 miles an hour, but always in control. Something we haven't really seen from him in past seasons, right? He'd always play super, super fast, but never quite be in control. Kind of like how I talk at some points, right? But yeah, he was in control today. I thought he had Long Lay and Sessegnon on skates. And even before he scored the goal, getting in front of Sessegnon, botting him to the ground. It was really good play from Almiron. And yeah, again, one of Newcastle's best players and most lively players every game. Looks up for it nonstop, running and pace and passion. Looks a great player, and he's going to be one other teams might be interested in buying as well. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Kane getting a really nice header early on in the second half. But the game kind of went dead from there, and it finished 2-1 to Newcastle. Again, I think this could be a team that presses for top 4. I'm going to upgrade my prediction and think that they could do it, especially with January on the horizon. This is a team that have hundreds of $1 million at their disposal, right? I think they got bought for like upwards of 450 mil in American dollars. This team can make a splash in the transfer market upcoming, especially with the World Cup on the horizon. People's values could go up. People's values could go down with the World Cup incoming. Also, there could be a couple injuries from Newcastle players that will be called up for the World Cup that could affect their depth, and they might need to sign some more players to ensure that doesn't happen and they don't take as big as a blow as they might expect to take. So I think Newcastle can make some waves, especially with top 4 teams or top 4 usuals like Liverpool and Spurs not having the best of seasons. Man United have been a little bit better, performing really, really well, I thought, playing my team Chelsea and getting a draw in a game I thought they should have won, Man United. I think it's going to be tight between Man United and Newcastle, really, for maybe 3rd spot, and then Spurs and Liverpool will make up 4th, maybe. I think Newcastle are definitely better than Spurs and Liverpool. Newcastle were robbed against Liverpool earlier on, so yeah, I think Newcastle could finish top 4 easily, man. What do you guys think? Do you think Newcastle is Champions League bound? I think it could happen, and I'm really hoping it could happen. I mean, it would attract so many more players to Newcastle, and that could really divvy the competition levels we see in the Premier League even more that we're seeing now, which would be really, really cool. So let me know what you think. Then moving on to the Barcelona versus Athletic Bilbao game. And really, was it Barcelona playing or was it Ousmane Dembele's brilliance? I mean, 3 assists and a goal. He was in full control of the game tonight. And in my opinion, I've been saying for the longest time that I would much rather have Ousmane Dembele at full strength than Kylian Mbappe in my team. A fit Ousmane Dembele is one of the best players in the world, talent-wise. I'm not saying he's the GOAT. Don't take my words and don't twist them. I'm saying his on a talent basis only, he's one of the best players in the world when completely healthy. Every time he got the ball for Barcelona today on the right wing, just driving so in control and at a such fast pace. But he looks so in control of the ball. He clearly took great lessons from Messi. Getting so many nice assists to Lewandowski, who's had a dip in form recently but scored again today. Assisted Ferran Torres, who should have had 2 goals today but only had 1. So pretty good from him. And Ousmane Dembele's goal himself was really, really nice. And I think Barcelona have a lot of making up to do after getting outplayed in the El Clasico a week ago. So they look to be on good form. They resume Champions League play as well as all the other Champions League clubs. It resumes Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. So we'll see what they do in there. But they'll definitely carry some good form going into those games. After demolishing Bilbao 4-0. I mean, it looked very, very comfortable at the back for Ter Stegen and the back line. And I thought players like Fati, Lewandowski, Gavi before injury played really well. And yeah, this Barcelona team continued to press on. And I know they lost to Real Madrid, but they play them one more time. And who knows, maybe they could come out with the 3 points in that fixture and win the La Liga. Who knows? But yeah, I thought it was a really, really good performance from Barcelona, top to bottom. But mainly the main man, Ousmane Dembele. Again, went on form. I think he's one of the best players in the world. And he definitely showed that today. Hopefully, it continues to show it throughout the rest of the La Liga season and in the rest of the Champions League games / Europa League games they have remaining. So we'll see what happens. But back to the Premier League, I just want to talk about Leicester City, who I've been pretty harsh on due to their very, very poor start to the season, right? I think they were like 0 wins out of 9, and like 8 of them were losses, something like that. But they've played really well their last couple of games. Winners today, 4-0 at Wolves. Pretty hard place to go and get a win, and they've done so in brilliant fashion, winning 4-0. I believe Harvey Barnes scored twice. I think Tielemans scored a screamer from outside the box, like on the half volley. Great performance from Leicester. And hopefully they get their season back together, because it'd really be a shame seeing them gone from the Premier League. But I think they're like 4 points clear of the drop zone right now. But again, they seem to be on really, really good form. So again, with also the January window coming up, players like Tielemans and Harvey Barnes might be looked at by other clubs to make improvements, because they're clearly 2 of the better players. James Maddison as well, who I think scored today. You know, Leicester will probably lose at least one of those key players. In my opinion, Tielemans might go. It'd be a shame to see him leave Leicester, and because I think it'd be a really big detriment to their team and their ambitions to stay in the Premier League. But as of right now, that Leicester team's playing really well, and the players are still there. So hopefully they can keep performing and keep Leicester above in the Premier League. And the last game we quickly want to cover is the Arsenal-Southampton game. I don't know how Arsenal did not win this game 4-1. Yes, I know the ref completely fucked them on numerous occasions. Jesus, that should have been a penalty. Ben White got clearly shoved in the back. Maybe he went down a little bit easily, but I thought full extension of the arm, player went down, should have been a penalty. But regardless of the terrible refereeing we saw of a guy I've never even heard of, Arsenal had chances. Gabby Jesus had chances, and they did not take them very well. Jesus, I think there was one, he was like in on goal, like 1-on-1, and he got caught up by the center back. I'm starting to think maybe is he overplaying? You think he could be playing a little bit too much football? I know he plays Europa League, and now with the World Cup coming up, there's so many Premier League games itself. So maybe Nketiah should get some game time as well to keep Jesus more fit, because what we could see today is a little bit of fatigue from Gabby Jesus, which resulted in maybe not as much quality. But a 1-1 draw at St. Mary's isn't a terrible result. I think if you went into the game before actually playing it, you might take a 1-1 draw. You'd be a bit bitter to it, as you're the team. You're winning the league, right? You want the 3 points, but after seeing the way you guys played, Arsenal that is, I would be really disappointed, because you clearly deserve the 3 points. The referee didn't do any favors by not giving you the calls you deserved, and the finishing just wasn't there today. And you can do that when a team like Manchester City, with players like Erling Haaland, Jack Grealish, KDB, Gundogan are flying in form and are 2 points behind you. So we'll see what happens in the later games in the Premier League. But Champions League comes back this week, so that'll be really, really cool to watch out for. See what teams mess up. See if the Barcelona group, if Inter Milan drop points against like Victoria and Bayern Munich. See if Barcelona can make a rebound into the Champions League round of 16. But yeah, it's been a pretty good weekend of football. Hopefully it continues. World Cup's less than a month away, which is really, really exciting things. We'll definitely be doing an episode with one of my friends coming up to pick the USA team we think should start for the World Cup, as well as other teams as well as give our predictions for the World Cup now that it's closer and closer. So hope you guys enjoyed the football this weekend, because I sure did. And I know you guys probably see my shirt. It's F1 based. I do have an F1 podcast channel. Link to that will be in the description. Or if you don't see it, it's all things, the 3 Wide podcast. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your nights, everybody. Take care and peace, everyone.